Hi, Tony Selzer here with Dustin Rule. We're out here to galvanize you. A new show that we've just started for entrepreneurs, for business owners, for people trying to get to the next level. So one of the things I want to talk about, and I convinced Dustin to go on this ride with me, is about the glass ceiling. The glass ceiling is that place that you get that you're never able, it feels like an artificial thing that you bruise the top of your head on, right? It could be $300,000 income, it could be $2 million in net revenue, it could be 7 employees, it could be 10 properties, but it's this mindset, it's this head trash that we get into that stops us from getting to the next level. And what we want to do is give 3 strategies. We'll talk a little bit about what are the glass ceilings that we've experienced in our life, right? And then give people 3 strategies to combat that glass ceiling. So talk to us, what's been a glass ceiling in your own business, in your own life, that you felt like you keep hitting yourself up?
You know, it's people management.
Mm-hmm.
You know, when we run an organization that does volume, and when you do volume, you have to have people, process, and systems.
Right.
And for me, being an 8-type personality,
Yep.
I like to either just run through a wall,
Yep.
and then whoever's running with me will just follow.
Yep.
And that doesn't really work very well.
It
can get you out. It can get you out of nasty situations.
It is. You have the ability to create like no one I've ever seen, but it's hard to build a system on that kind of thing. And we talk about this in organizations called whiplash, where the CEO gets so far ahead, changes his mind, and gives the rest of the organization whiplash. But here's the thing that we've had conversations on, and that I think our viewers need to hear. Is there is a CEO that has every single personality type that's ever been out there that is on the Fortune 500, that is on the Fortune 100. They are high Ds, they are low Ds, they are high Is, they are low Is, they are high S's, they are low S's. They're all over the board. There is no formula. That we do a lot of work with talent, and we do a lot of work on understanding how to get people shaped for role. But as a business owner, it is never your weaknesses or your strength that is holding you back. And that's part of the problem, right? It's getting out of our own way. It's just the different systems that are built to allow that person to get to the next level. And one of the things that you've done, and is you understand what you're strong and weak at. And you have built systems around your weaknesses, not to stop you from your strengths, doing what your strengths need to do, but from protecting you from your weaknesses. Is that fair?
Correct.
And how has that helped you get to the next level?
Well, it creates check and balances. And one thing I like about our business is it's very scalable through technology, people, systems, processes.
Sure. Yep.
And so, I have an organization of 7, and we do probably 30 to 40 renovations a year.
Yeah.
We transact on wholesale transactions about 120 a year. So all in all, we're doing about 150 transactions. In a typical builder world, that's a lot. In a builder world, you got probably 20 to 25 people on staff, and we're working with 7.
Yeah.
And so that's what I really like about our business.
And in all fairness, the systems that you had when you were doing 5 transactions a month are totally different from the systems that it took you to get to 10. And you were open and aware that how you got from A to B is not the way you get from B to C. Fair?
Absolutely. And as you learn, you have partners, you have relationships, you have situations that fortunately have helped me learn how important that is.
Yep.
And you can't just do it all on your own.
I think one of the reasons that you've got through the last couple glass ceilings that I've seen you in is because you're on this constant pursuit of personal awareness. And that's really like, there's this concept, and there's a great book out by, I can't remember his last name, but it begins with Ryan. Ego is the enemy, right? The more you get out of your own way, the more you're aware of how your ego is creating challenges for you, creating these glass ceilings for you, the more you're able to build. A lot of times, one of the biggest things to realize, we're 70 people, right? In an organization our size, I'm not as important as I used to think I was in that business. You know what I mean? I have this thing I need to do, and this thing I need to do, and this thing I need to do. And that's kind of what I've watched you do, is hey, my world needs to get smaller, not bigger. I need to find people who are really good at these things, and I need to get out of those things. And even that person's only 70% as good as I was at doing that, they're doing it and I don't have to. Right? I mean, isn't that power?
Freedom.
Right. It comes back to one of our themes, right? And freedom. Finding freedom in your own business. But one of the things that I've also understood is really getting your head around the stuff that is in between your ears, or mom and dad, that are stopping you from getting there. The perception of what you think you're capable of. I mean, I struggle to get over $1 million in revenue with 3 businesses because my dad never ran a business over $1 million. And until I said that out loud, until I really recognized that was in my identity and in my person and what I was about, the day I did that was 3 months later we were over $2 million in revenue. And those stupid things hold you back as much as anything. Is that fair?
Well, yeah, I think it's thinking bigger.
Right.
And it's hard to do. Here recently this year, we've kind of built our business off of transaction after transaction after transaction. One transaction I started thinking, we kind of ran into a situation where back in March, we did a transaction that had 31 assets in it.
Yeah.
And it was just the same transaction.
Yep.
And then we just finished up doing our second big tranche of houses.
Yep.
And so I've just started realizing, like, there's older investors looking to get out of this business.
And it wasn't any harder.
It wasn't any harder. It was easy. I mean, in some ways it was easier.
Yeah. Yeah.
And so it's just thinking bigger and knowing that, hey, you can do it. You just got to get out of your own way sometimes.
I remember selling my first 6-figure deal and my first 7-figure deal, and it was the exact same. In fact, it was easier to do 7 figures than it was to do 6, right? Mm-hmm. It was like, because at that point the money was so sophisticated, it was more about the return on investment, it was more about the plan, it was more about less whether or not they liked us, whether they thought I had cheesy hair or was too tan or whatever, right? I mean, it was more about the numbers, and I think that's that perception. So 3 things that we want to give people. I'm going to give one, I'm going to let you come up with another one. The first one I'm going to come up with is, like, be around people who are already doing it.
Yeah.
Man, your circle, when you are sitting next to somebody who is making twice as much money as you, or has a business that's 3 times as big as yours, or and you look at this person, you're like, that's the guy? I mean, not being a mean, but I remember when I worked with somebody who ran a $50 million business, and he worked from 9 to 5, and he put his pants on the same way I did, and I was like, he wasn't any smarter than me, right? He didn't work any harder than me, and I knew that I could do that. Mm-hmm. And that was so powerful just to be that close to it. Would you agree that that's a huge thing, is to be around people that are doing it, that are already there?
They say that the people you hang around
5%
are usually the income of.
Yep.
So if you want to get to that next level, sometimes you got to go find the people.
You got to reach and network above your head, right? And I always joke, is like, I always want to be the pizza boy waiting for the tip in the room, right? So because if I'm not that guy, right? I'm that guy. I'm constantly elevating myself. So you agree what would be your one thing?
Well, I think we just talked about it. I mean, it's because it's been near and dear to my heart. Is just get out of your own way.
Yeah.
It's okay to make mistakes, and the people that you surround yourself within your organization, and it may not be an organization, it may just be you and your spouse, or you and a virtual assistant. They're part of a team, and everybody has to work as a cohesive unit, and we just. I can't stress that enough.
Well, when you say that, I always come back to deal with the real, right? Deal with the real issues that are going on in your head trash. If it's mom and dad, if it's it's their perception on wealth, their perception on growth, and you're still dealing with that. Deal with it, really deal with it. If you got a real weakness, deal with it. Build a system around it. I mean, the day that I hired somebody to manage my calendar, because I'm dyslexic and I can't ever get this stuff right. I mean, I can remember the email ping pong that would go back and forth. When I finally handed that to somebody and said, I need an assistant, I doubled my income. Like that. And that's so hard to get your head around. Something that's so simple for everybody else was so complicated for me.
Yeah.
Right? And so dealing with the real is that second thing, is I think what you're saying.
When you're building a business, and that's what your choice is, and we're doing this podcast for assuming people watching are looking to do that. And you've gotta do the job, and then you gotta back away.
Yeah.
Do the job, back away, and get somebody to replace you at each position. And my old partner and still friend, he was really good at that, and that's how he built his business.
Yeah.
And I learned a lot from that.
Yeah.
And so and it becomes internally it creates a respect for you as the owner that, hey man, I did this.
Yep.
And it's not easy, but what I'm telling you, I did.
Yeah.
So listen.
You know? So it leads me to my third thing that that I think would be a great add-on to what you're saying. It's really, I think it's consistent with what you're saying, is commit whatever it takes. I watch people that stick their toe in the water to try to grow, or to try to be 5 employees instead of 3, or to try to be 10, or to try to get to over 10 million, or over 5 million, or over whatever million that you're stuck at. And they try. They're not committed whatever it takes. They quit trying, or they quit committing to get to that next number, right? And I think that's part of the problem. It's like the first time you do anything, you're never successful at it, right? I mean, the first time you, like Brian Tracy said, you know, the first 75 answers you come up to something or try something new in your business, it'll be wrong.
Yeah.
And then you make it right,
Yeah.
right? And I think that's part of the mindset, is commit whatever it takes to get to that level, right? Which means all those other things are capable to get past that. Is that fair?
Absolutely.
So commit whatever it takes, deal with the real, and then build a powerful circle of people that are already there. 3 things to help you deal with your glass ceiling.